This week, instead of looking at an app for your iPad or a camera app or editing app, we're just going to look simply at composition. Some things that you can do to make your pictures a little more interesting. Here's a picture that's pretty typical of what a lot of families do when they're out on vacation. They put someone in the center of the photo and snap a picture. And the pictures, there's sort of a documentary look to them, but they're really not that interesting. And so here, instead of a person, we have a sign in the middle of the picture. Not very interesting. One of the things that we can do is move in closer to the object and then move it off to one side, either the right or the left. And we call this the rule of thirds. And the reason we do is because we've divided the screen into 3 sections vertically. And I've put this stop sign on the right vertical line. Now, we can also divide the screen into 3 sections horizontally, and we might put the horizon line on the bottom line. And so the rule of thirds, some call it the rule of nines, but by moving that picture over just a little bit, the image over just a little bit, we get a much more interesting view. Another thing that we can do is either come up really close and move underneath the object or move over the top of the object. If we move underneath the object, we become smaller, and the object we're photographing becomes larger than life. And here, not only did I get under the sign, but I also tilted the iPad just a little bit so that it kind of gave an interesting focal point with the sign. Now, other kinds of pictures become interesting because of the negative space. Here, I made the parking sign, handicap parking sign, very small and put it down close to that intersection of the bottom horizontal line and the right vertical line, close to that, but not quite. But what makes the picture work is all the negative space of the brick. And if we were to use this picture in a presentation, look at all that brick space we've got to add text. So by making that image just a little smaller and giving all this negative space, we draw our eyes into the handicap parking sign. Other things kind of lend themselves to a natural view. This is an arrow. This sign was painted on the side of a brick building. And rather than get just a flat shot, I decided to let the arrow sort of lead me off into infinity. And so I moved back away from the wall and shot it at an angle up against the wall so that the arrow kind of leads us out of the picture. And again, it gives a little more interest to this particular context. Some things become interesting because they are put into context. This sign would make no sense if you didn't see the brick wall and all of the bricks falling off the wall. And so again, moved it over to the right, close to that line on the right-hand side for the rule of thirds, but it's the wall behind it that really gives the picture its interest because it puts it into context. The same kind of thing here is irony. Sometimes irony makes a picture interesting. Here's a sign, now open, but it's on a building that's been abandoned for probably 20 or 30 years. All the glass is broken out over here on the left. There's nothing inside the building. It's run down, the roof's fallen in, but the sign still says there's this big sale going on and it's now open. So irony and context help us as well. And then some things, you just need to take the picture. You need to throw all the rules out and just take the picture. Here's a sign painted on the side of a brick wall. It's all faded out. And I could have done all kinds of things to get an angle or whatever, but it just needed to fill the screen. Just straight on, put it in there, and it just tells its own story with the color. So, your theme this week is signs. And we want you to go out and take as many pictures of signs as you can. Upload at least one to the email address in the email that you were sent about this assignment, and we'll post it to Edmodo. Good luck.